Hey Oshie fans, Allison Gappa here with Pat Jones. We are talking about the game against Texas Tech in Tokyo, 1988, and 9 hours before you guys played this game, Barry Sanders is awarded the Heisman Trophy. So many different storylines heading into this game, though.
Yeah, it gives me a headache, Allison, trying to remember some of these because it was, you know, we were 10th in the country going over there and need to win the ball. I wouldn't need to win the ball game. It was a Tech home game that we actually gave them some of our money to move it over there because there was a lot of coins involved in this thing. We bust down to Dallas, get into a big JAL airliner with the Texas Tech team. Also involved in this thing are the Miami Dolphin cheerleaders and the Grambling band. We're all on the same plane going over there. Mechanically, we were staying in a very nice place. We worked out in a nice facility. You know, they did a good job with the players and obviously took us up into the mountains, into skiing. You see all the snow monkeys and all that kind of stuff. And now there was times where I was convinced I was about the only person over there that really was concerned with who won the ball game. Yeah, we thought we had it figured out on how this Heisman thing's going to go. We had told whichever network had it to get their affiliate to bring one of their big trucks over to the hotel. We get up that morning with the time difference, are prepared when they make the announcement in New York, and we're going to be there with Sanders. We still don't know whether he's going to win or not. That sounded like a real good plan. Well, in turn, it comes back to us. We're not prepared to do that. We don't have the equipment to get the truck over to the hotel. Y'all have to come to downtown Tokyo at 5 o'clock in the morning. Sanders notoriously never wanted to get up. And I really didn't want to hassle him over the deal. I mean, we had to get down there or there would have been another international incident, of which I was a participant in several. But I got the offensive lineman and our fullback, Garrett Limerick. I said, okay, you guys, y'all are in charge of getting Sanders down here. We'll get a couple more limos for you and we're going to downtown Tokyo. Well, they get him up. We've got about a 4 limo parade now going through downtown Tokyo, dark. Get to a building, somebody's there to meet us, go up there and the whole deal. They've got a real nice spread for the linemen and they're all yucking it up and they're happy and whole thing. Sanders and I go back in a room and we're sitting there. That's when you see Barry and he looks over at me and we had been told that Barry's just gonna say thank you and then we gotta get up and go eat the pregame meal, go play. All right, so we're sitting there, and as we say later, see Peter Lambos, the director of the Heisman Trust up there, comes on. Barry Sanders wins the award. Well, I'm listening in my ear, and I think it's over with, or so I was told, and I hear Bob Costas back there say, we'll be back in just a minute, and we'll do a lengthy interview with Barry Sanders. Well, he cuts off, and we had to get back, and nobody, you know, there were some language barriers that went on. And so I just reached down, there was a bunch of plugs in a wall down here, and I just reached down there and unplugged them all. And the place kind of went dark. I said, come on, Sanders, let's go.
Yeah.
So we get out there, and the offensive linemen are, you know, I said, y'all get you, they had donuts and stuff. I said, y'all get your stuff, come on, we got to go now. So we're parading all out, and, you know, that was that at that point in time. We eat the pregame meal, get to the stadium. Again, this was the first game played in the Tokyo Dome. Before they'd always played it in Olympic Stadium. Well, game management wise, this is all new to them. It had no acoustics. Big crowd. The dressing room was new, but they had no real facilities. The Miami Dolphin cheerleaders over there changing clothes right next to us, and there wasn't anything over on the door, and I won't get into that, but you know, in the whole thing. And we go out to warm up, and everybody with the cameras out there trying to take pictures of Sanders. We chase them off. Once the game started, it was a Southwest Conference crew of officials. They couldn't find the time clock. Our coaches, were not prepared to put them in a press box. We finally got that done. Mechanically, you know, I'd asked somebody, I said, does this crowd know anything about the game? I mean, how's the crowd know it's going to be? Nobody knew anything. Said, they'll just cheer when the ball gets thrown. Well, Tech's got Billy Joe Tolliver, and he's going to throw him for 450 yards. I mean, so the place is just going bananas. Sanders running wild. The Grambling band is right behind us, and I'm totally convinced it's all going in my ear.
Once the game got going, I thought that it would go away, the unusual part of the atmosphere, but it never did. Coming on the field, going off the field, it felt different. Right from the start, when we came out to stretch, all the Japanese photographers and media came out into the field right in the middle of our stretch in pregame because they thought that's what they were supposed to do. So you had 15, 20, 30 cameras walking around when we were stretching before the game started. So it was just very unusual.
Melvin Gillum intercepts. I said we couldn't stop it. We did intercept him a couple of times, which gets it back. We were not nearly as good defensively in this season as we had been back in, 81, 2, 3, 4, 5, that kind of stuff here. But again, this guy's arguably the best back that's ever played the game, period. And he's running wild, and you can imagine he had to get up in the morning and go downtown, and when he wanted to sleep, come back and eat the pregame meal. You're in a foreign land, your time clock is all off, and this guy doesn't do anything but run for 339 yards. And this Tech was not particularly good defensively, but I remember again Spike Dykes, man, one of their safeties ended up playing for the Jets for a long time and was a good player. Sanders got him one-on-one, and it was all over with. He just couldn't make the play. I think that was him that missed him right there. But you watch this stuff and you think, wow, he did the same thing in the NFL. This was to say that you were around maybe arguably the best back to ever play the game.
I think at halftime we were behind in this game because the Tech had done so well offensively. We were very fortunate. We had a great offense. There's an option play there, a speed option, pitching the ball to Barry, and took a little bit bigger hit than I wanted to there at the quarterback position, but shows him there and how amazing he is, makes 2 cuts and runs away from everybody else. But his ability and our ability to move the ball and score points then as a team was unbelievable. And as I said earlier, you didn't get the media coverage. This team averaged 49-point-something points a game. And at that time, when we were throwing the ball about 20, 22 times a game, and there weren't no huddle offenses. Our average plays per game was somewhere around 65 plays. We were averaging just under 50 points a game. What I've always said is if you go back and take plays per game and the points and average that all up, I don't think there would ever be an offense that would score this many points in the average number of plays that we had in games.
Here's Mike and Hartley. Of course, again, this is the offensive unit. Mike, Hartley, Dykes, Barry Sanders, all these offensive linemen. We led the country in scoring. I think we're second in total offense. Larry Coker was the play caller. Houston Nutt was the receiver coach. We had a lot of guys playing and coaching that went on to really good things. And here's Mike's mobility and his capacity to see and throw the ball on the run. Hartley, Dykes, he and Dez Bryant are the 2 most gifted receivers that have ever been around here. This guy was 6'4" and 222. Dez was 6'1" and something. This guy was probably the best big athlete that I've ever been around at any level. Here's Hartley catching the ball again. This was, again, the final score is 45-43, and it took every ounce of offensive ability we had to pull this off. Mike and Hart were so good with doing this sort of thing. Now it's 31-21. This is giving me a headache anyway. So here, flipping the ball out here and watch him go again. See, this is unworldly stuff here. It's amazing me, and I saw him every day for a long time. Mike was so good with the passes that are supposed to be easy. Mike made them easy. Some guys can't do that. Ball goes off over everywhere. Mike ended up the all-time leading passer in the history of the Big 8. Second in total offense, if I'm not mistaken. Cordell Stewart, the Colorado quarterback, went by him by a few yards in total offense. So, you had there's Sanders, there's, defensively, who's that David Bailey, one of our defensive ends. So, memorable moments, to say the least, is putting it mildly with this thing.